Thank you. It's so good to be here today. It's fun for me to come and just share some of my stories with you. So just so you know a little bit about me, besides what she mentioned, so for about 8 years, I took care of my mom, my aunt, and my neighbor all at the same time. 2 of them had dementia. And so that was a lot. And in the middle of all that, I thought, well, I know, I'll do something for me. I'll go get a master's degree. And that might sound crazy, but I just loved it. And that led me to an internship with Jewish Family Service, and then they hired me to work with people with dementia. So my personal life, my education, my professional life have all been around dementia. And I've been with Jewish Family Service for 10 years now. And so the title of our message today is The Upside of Dementia You May Have Forgotten. And we did that because it's ironic. But with all of my experience, I wanted you to see maybe something that's happy amid the challenges. So our agency, we're a non-denominational social service agency, so that means we help anybody. We have mental health counseling services, we have community education classes, we have a food pantry and emergency assistance, and then a lot of things for older adults, which is what I do. So for families living with dementia, we have support groups for people who take care of somebody with dementia. We have activities for people who have dementia. Last week, we went to Red Butte Garden. This month, we're going to go to Tracy Aviary. In March, we went to the Symphony. We just do a lot of different things. And every one of our programs is free, and people can just come, and it's just fun. We have a choir for people with dementia, which is like the greatest thing. Please raise your hand, Emily. This is Emily, our choir director, and if you want to do something that's amazing, please come to our choir. And this afternoon, Emily is going to talk a little bit, and instead of just giving a lecture about music and dementia, everybody is going to participate in music. We're going to sing. We're going to play some musical instruments. Anyway, you'll see how much fun we have with our programs. We have a program called Music in Memory. We give personalized music devices. And we also do care consultations, so we meet with individuals or families and just steer them toward community resources or provide education. And we do a lot of really fun things, and we never charge. So I wanted today to share with you some of my stories. I have a million great stories. Believe me, I completely understand how hard it is to take care of someone with dementia. It is extraordinarily hard. But today I wanted to share some of the magical moments. There are magical moments and beautiful moments. And if you watch for them, you can live in that moment with them. And so one time I was with my neighbor lady in the care center, and she was eating a pancake. And you know, okay, it takes a long time for people with dementia to eat. And so I was there with the pancake for like half of the day. And I'm a nervous person, so I'm like, oh my gosh, and oh, there goes another bite. This is good, Anyway, so I'm, like that and kind of thinking to myself, oh. But I looked across the room, and another woman I knew was across the room. She also had dementia. And she looked up and saw me, and she's like, oh, hello! The biggest hello and the biggest smile. How are you? I'm like, I'm great. How are you? And then she went back to her eating, and then my lady's still working on the pancake, and a few minutes later, the lady across the room looked up, hello! And she was thrilled to see me again for the first time. And this went on over and over and over, and it was so fun. I mean, she loved me. She thought I was amazing, and I was so thrilled. Really, when was the last time somebody was that happy to see you over and over? And so it just touched my heart so much. She was living in this moment of joy over and over and over in a way that we don't, right? We're always like, oh my gosh, what's next, and where am I going, and or me this morning, what should I wear? And she was in this moment of joy, and I fell into that with her. And it was really, really beautiful. Another thing we do a lot in our programs is music. Music for me is magic. Have you ever been in the grocery store and a song you hadn't heard in decades comes on, and you're like, oh, and you're singing in the grocery store, and you're like, I love this song, and you remember every word? Well, that's how it is with us. We all remember favorite music. There's not a music center in our brain. We hear music, we move to music, we sing music. So people with dementia can remember favorite music till the end. And so it's really important to try to use music. Music makes us happy. Music gives people something to do. Music gives caregivers a little bit of a break. You plug your person into some music, and then you can do something something different for a little while. Music, interestingly, reduces stress, anxiety, agitation, depression. It can even help reduce chronic pain. I mean, music is really great. And so that's why we use music in our programs. So here's a couple of really beautiful music stories. One time, one of the members of our choir invited us all to come to their home for a holiday party. So we were all there. There's maybe 25 of us, and we were eating and hanging out and talking. And the gentleman with dementia had not played the organ in quite a while. He had been a professional organist. He had made CDs and everything. And his wife said, yeah, he hasn't played in a really long time. And we were in the room with the giant, gorgeous organ. And after a while, he wandered over, and he climbed up, and he started playing Christmas music. And the wife couldn't believe it. It was so neat. He got caught up in the moment, and he started to play. And then all the people in the room who had dementia, so 50% of the people, just started singing along. Just started singing along. You know how all of us, we're like, well, I'm so cool. I can't possibly sing in a group in front of you. And you know what? We all joined in with them. They don't have that part of their brain that says, don't do this because you'll feel stupid. We have that, unfortunately, and they all sang, and we joined in, and we didn't feel stupid anymore because we were with them. And it was the most touching moment. It was so fun to be there, and it was so beautiful to have this spontaneous, nobody said, let's start singing. They just started singing. It was so great. Another gentleman I know used to be in our choir, and he had lost the ability to speak. And it's so interesting. He couldn't talk. He could kind of say yes and no. He couldn't talk, but he could sing all the words to his favorite songs. And so one time we had a dementia-friendly activity, and we all sat around the table at our office. There's, I don't know, about 8 of us, I guess. And we all sat around, and I deliberately selected music that I knew he loved, because I knew if we sang music, he could do that. And luckily, he likes a lot of the same music I like, and so I picked the songs that we both like. And so I turned on the music, and he liked Hotel California. He liked Sister Golden Hair by America. And I'm telling you, I am very shy with singing. You will not hear me singing in front of you very often. And yet, I sat across from this gentleman, and I turned on the Hotel California. He started belting it out. He was looking, like, seriously, right at me this far away. I'm like, I feel dumb. I don't care. I'm doing it. And we were all singing these songs, and his face lit up like he was inside of that music and absolutely loving it. And as I sat right across from him and looked him in the eye, and I sang along, I'm like, I'm in this moment, this beautiful moment where we are doing something amazing together. And this gentleman, our choir is a performing choir, so once in a while we have performances. We're going to sing at the Alzheimer's Walk in the fall. That'll be really fun. Anyway, so when he did any of our performances, he didn't just get up there and sing. Like I go to choir and I sing along, He performs. He is on stage and he smiles and he stands up straight and he performs. And it's infectious. You watch him and you're like, this is amazing. He connects with who he used to be and what he used to do. And you watch his face filled with this joy inside this music. And you're like, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I'm really certain that if we watch for these moments, even though day to day is hard, minute to minute is hard, but watching for these beautiful moments, your heart will be touched, and at least my heart is just opened, and I can be there with them in these little moments of incredible joy and beauty. We can use music for boredom, if they get bored, if they're frustrated, if they're resistant to care. I don't want to take a bath. Let's listen to music. I love taking a bath, you know. Try it. It might help. Another time I gave a personalized music device to a couple. The wife had dementia, and we turned on the music, and she had been a piano teacher her whole life. She was wonderful. She was a wonderful lady. And we turned on the music, and she started singing and moving and dancing, and her husband got up and went over and grabbed her, and they started dancing around the room. And they connected. She connected with him, with their relationship and how much she loved them and who they used to be together as we listened to this music. And I will never forget that. It touched my heart so deeply to see this beautiful couple. People with dementia are in there, and they can connect once in a while to those little moments of recollection. So one thing we always talk about, we have to enter their world. They can't come to our world anymore, unfortunately. So we enter their world. And a couple of funny stories. One of my clients had been a policeman, and he had been a firefighter. And so he would tell this story over and over. I jumped off a 3-story building and kept going. And the wife would be like humiliated, right? The wife's like, oh my gosh, that never happened. You've got to stop telling this story. And like any caregiver, you know, it's embarrassing. Like, what are you doing? Why are you saying this? It's crazy talk. I did it. It was real for him. He knew that that happened. And nothing you can do would be to talk him out of it. And so I would like to suggest a better approach would be, I am so proud of you. You are so brave. I remember that day. Can you believe you were able to do that? That building, let's drive by it right now. You know, but jumping in with them, it doesn't do any harm, and it makes them feel better. Talking them out of it, you know what happens when you try to talk them out of something. And so another one was one of our clients at one time had been a very, very prominent physician, and he gave a lot of lectures at colleges, and he had a very successful career. And that nowadays, it's more like, well, I hope you'll come to my lecture. I hope you'll be there for my next lecture. And he'll say, please, I'd like to invite you to my lecture. And you could say, you know, you're retired. But even today, he gets up every day, and he puts on a suit and a tie, and he goes to work. And I would love to come to your lecture. I will be there. Entering their world does a lot for them, to help them feel calmer and help them feel happier. And I wanted to put in a little bit of a plug for gratitude. Gratitude is fascinating. I didn't know all of this, but I've learned it, so I'll share what little I know with you. When we are grateful, it improves all of these things. We sleep better when we're grateful. It makes us happy. Gratitude improves our physical health and our mental health, which is shocking to me and awesome. Gratitude reduces our stress, depression, and can reduce chronic pain. I read an article that said, if we had a pill for this, we'd all be taking it. So gratitude, what does that mean? Well, every day, just ponder a little bit in your mind with your eyes closed, or write it in your, you know, some people keep a gratitude journal, write it down, think about it. Name 5 things for which you are grateful. That's it. And these are the benefits. And this time of year is so gorgeous. This is the best time of year. It's beautiful. Look at the sky and the flowers and the trees, and the temperatures are warming up. Tomorrow's supposed to be really good. I'm grateful for tomorrow. Think about all of these things for which we can be grateful, even though day-to-day is hard. Just relish a little bit in that gratitude, and it will help. And so I wanted to suggest that all of us watch for these moments of pure joy, these moments of pure love. Look for the big hello. Use music and sing along and sing together. And you will find that amid these very challenging days, there is a lot of beauty. That person is still in there. And I thought we would spend the last couple minutes, if you don't mind. I'm not sure about the time, but This is our flyer. It's in all of your folders. All of our programs are free. You can contact me at any time. But would anyone like to ask any questions, anything about dementia, caregiving, the disease? Oh my gosh, they won't take a bath. Oh my gosh, what do we do? How do we do it? Does anyone have any questions?
This only has happened just recently, and I had no idea what to do, but my dad, he wanted to go outside, and it was late at night, and he had, his pants were wet, and he wanted to go check the ditches because he was so worried about them being, he lives on a farm, he was so worried about them being, not working right. And I told him that it was too late, we needed to change his pants, it was time for bed, and he got really angry with me. And, I had his arm, and he yanked it away. He didn't get, violent or anything, but I didn't know what to do. He was very angry, and I kind of like a tantrum, and I kind of just sat there, and we ended up going outside, and I was worried the whole time about him falling, and it scared me, no idea what to do or how to handle it.
Super common. People will get, like all of us, right? We all get a little thought stuck in our head. Oh, did I leave the stove on? People with dementia don't have the ability to talk themselves out of it, right? So you and I would go, okay, the stove is not on, just handle it. They don't do that. So they get really stuck. The ditches, it's an emergency. We gotta get out there. But you can't go out there. What do you mean I can't go out there? It's an emergency. I've got to get out there. So some people will say distraction. Sometimes distraction works. Oh, let's look at this TV show. Oh, let's have a cookie. Maybe that would work. Sometimes it does. I like what you did. All right, let's go check the ditches. Even though that was really hard on you, but it did comfort him. Sometimes sweets help. People with dementia can lose their sense of taste except sweet, so sweets help. Music could help. Hey, what are we worried about with the ditches? Turn it into a conversation. Tell me about how long have those ditches been there? While you're telling me, would it be all right if we got you changed? Oh, yeah, and then we will do it. We will go out there, but let's get, turning things that are challenging into a conversation can help ease that emotion of this is an emergency. And so I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home. You hear that a lot. Tell me about your home. What was your favorite thing about your home? Oh, you had a pet. What was his name? Tell me. Turning it into a conversation instead of, we can't talk them out of it. It's an emergency. We got to deal with it. So again, you'll try something this week, it's going to work. In 2 weeks, you're going to have to try something different. It's always changing, and that's frustrating.
Yeah, and I'm afraid the answer might be the same, but for example, my father, if my mom steps out of the house, he thinks she's going out with another man. That's a story you can't follow him into, right?
That he's going to what?
That she's going with another man. She walks out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's super common. Paranoia is very, very common. Tell me what's your favorite thing about her? What do you love about her? How did you meet? Turning anything into a conversation can help. Paranoia is super hard. My neighbor lady I took care of in the care center literally shoved all the furniture up against the door so people wouldn't come in and steal all her stuff. They had to take her furniture away, except for her bed. So it's very, very hard. But to say that's not happening is kind of worse, right? Because I am positive I'm wearing a blue jacket. And if you came up to me and said it's red, I'd be like, what is your problem? You're crazy. You're wrong. So we can't talk them out of it, but we can ease that emotion. Because the emotion is, I'm scared. I'm scared she's stepping out on me. I'm scared. So what do we do about that? Comfort, comfort, comfort. It's going to be okay. I'm here with you. What do you like? Conversation. But it's very hard.
What do you do if they have like a temper tantrum or like throw a fit or angry? How do you dissipate that and handle that without getting emotionally
sucked in. It's so hard. All of these things are so hard, but would you like to answer? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm a registered nurse, but that aside, I'm also an expert in essential oils, and so I represent the doTERRA table. And essential oils can be really powerful in helping to calm somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia. And the way that it works on the brain is so fast, right? So they're going to be breathing in and do a simple little hand massage, which I'm offering at the table so you can learn how essential it is, and bring them back into their body and let go of the agitation.
Thank
without
you.
leaving.
Thank you.
That's what I love about it, is it's really easy.
So when people are angry, you hear it a lot, angry, rude, bad language, temper, throwing things, all of these things. Anything, you try it all, try it all. Try, ooh, let's smell this lavender. Try, ooh, let's eat a cookie. Try distracting, oh, look over here at the birds, you know. But where they're coming from is this place of really deep emotion, and it's fear. I'm not really sure where I am. I'm not sure what to do. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what to do. And what do they have? They have this raw emotion, and they don't have the logic to talk themselves down. So my example would be, like, if my kid comes up behind me and says, boo, ah, right? And your heart races, and you're, geez, you startle, and then you go, it's my kid. No big deal. He got me again. And your body calms down, right? Because you can logic yourself off the ledge. They can't. So what do they have inside? They have anger, scratching, and biting, And so it's frustrating, and it's hard not to get sucked in, and it's hard not to feel sad and offended and hurt when this is happening all the time. And so you try lots of things, and you can try holding their hand. I am here with you. It's going to be okay. When I'm scared, I would love it if somebody could comfort me. That's what they're looking for, is something that will be comforting, something that will help them feel less scared and less angry. But it's always changing. If it's really severe, talk to your doctor, if it's really severe. But trying to just come with them in that place of, I'm scared, how can I be there with you? One of my favorite stories, I used to visit a gentleman who I just adored. He was in his 90s, and he had Alzheimer's, and he was in a care center, and I went to visit him, and one day I got there, and he was lying in his bed, and he was just looping on some story. I didn't know his past, right? I didn't know what in the world he was talking about. Blah, blah, blah. And then they died, and blah, 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 and then they died, and round and round and round. And I could tell he was so distraught. He was absolutely distraught. And I just went and I sat on his bed, and I held his hand, and I go, I am here with you. I love you. And he's like, okay. I go, I can tell you're really sad today. And he's like, I'm really sad today. And I said, it's okay, I'm going to sit here with you. It's going to be all right. And he's like, okay. And he's like, I wish you were my daughter. And I'm like, oh, me too, And he slowly calmed down. That he needed that comfort, and he stopped looping around on this subject. I didn't even know what he was talking about. I guess somebody died. And then he said, I'm going to take a nap now. And I said, okay, I'm going to go, but you're going to be okay. So finding what is that root, what is the root, and providing some comfort, some help.
I used to be a nurse practitioner, but I have a son who's Down syndrome. But what I was remembering when we were talking about the looping, my dad had Alzheimer's, and he was in a care center in Texas, and they were giving him huge amounts of Prozac, and he couldn't even walk into his room. And when I went to find out what was going on, his whole room was just almost bare because everything, he couldn't hold his bowels. And so I talked to the doctor, and she said, oh, that's my favorite drug. I'm not going to take him off of that. So we had to move him from one facility, find another facility. And luckily we had another facility that my mom had been in. and they were willing to, to help him, well, to admit him. But I can remember when we left the facility, he was looking all around, very frightened. He wasn't angry, but the part that I would like to share is when we got him into his new room, I was afraid that he would try to get out of the car, but they just let him go with me. And when he got out of the car and to his facility, I remember him laying down in his bed, and he just said, I need to breathe. And just breathing with him made a difference. And I didn't even initiate it, he. And so when I get upset now, and I get anxious, last night, I woke up in the middle of the night, am I gonna get up on time? I said, okay, I'm just gonna breathe. And just that, rhythm breathing can help slow down that heart rate. It can calm, and if you get upset, that only magnifies it. So we have to remain calm.
I
My
love
Down
that you said
syndrome
that.
son is only, he's 40, and everything that you have said applies to him when he gets upset.
I think it applies to all of us. When we're scared, we want comfort. I love how you said that. We learned a lot yesterday about the breathing. When we deep breathe, it tells our body we're safe. So our body can calm down. I love that. And matching their breathing together, holding their hand, loving them, makes such a difference, such a difference.
This is really interesting. It just hit me, but we talk about with Alzheimer's, and when we get old, we go back to a child, right? Like we start out a child, and then we grow up, and then we kind of go back to be dependent and things like that. And when she talked about the breathing, I thought about when my little ones, when I would put them down for naps and would read stories or I'm laying with them, I'd be like, let's breathe together. And we would just take big breaths, and I would be right with them, and I would be so close to them that I would breathe onto them, like my, and I just remember that, and it was like, so they felt safe, and I'd be like, let's take breath, like let's breathe, and it would help them go to sleep. And it's just, what works with a child, it's just so interesting how they're so.
It works with all of us. We just all want to feel calm. I remember yesterday, whoever was here, our bodies felt calmer. We just felt a little lighter after taking a few deep breaths. It's remarkable. Any others? All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.